And welcome, everyone. Welcome to Friday, May 30th, your Friday, May 30th, 2025. Prof Friday Night Fights, round six. Let me make sure you can hear me, and I'll get started here. All right, sounds good. So, welcome, everyone. Let me back this on up and see who all is here and say hello to everyone in the chat before we get rolling. You know how I like to do it. So thank God it's Friday and thank God you're here. Appreciate it. I hope you all had a great week and a good day today. And hey, maybe got some interesting things to talk about. But anyway, I want to go back to the beginning and thank everyone who was here super early. So first, I want to say hi to Amy and thank her again for always being here. This is Amy here. So Amy is my main mod. So if she says something in the chat, you should listen. She runs things around here. So Amy here is giving our support pathways. Please do support the channel. It's the last day of the month for me. So anything you contribute tonight will definitely go towards this May payout for YouTube, and I truly do appreciate it. So please support the channel tonight. If you're thinking about it, tonight would be the great night to do it. So please support the channel. I appreciate that. Also, Rebecca Ann. Hey, what's up? Rebecca Ann's in the house. Sweet Dude Shibby's in the house. Mandy Gillian. Dom S is here. We're saying, remember, all chat, not top. Yeah, fix your chat now. Fix your chat filters. All right. So thanks, Adrian. Adrian's here. Also, Dirty Diana's here. What's up, Diana? What's up, Adrian? Oh, yeah, look, Diana is also sharing Heather Brown's GoFundMe. So if you're in the giving mood tonight, support the channel, but also go support Heather Brown at the GoFundMe there. Please support Heather Brown. She's going through it. And more than supporting me tonight, I'd love you to go contribute to Heather because she's always here being an angel. And let's show her that we all care about her, okay? Please do that. I care about her, and I'm going to go help her out. And so everyone, please go and make it easier on Heather as she goes through this tough time, okay? So thank you, Diana, for sharing that. Diana, please share it again in a few minutes also in case new people are coming in by the time we finish this. All right, Jay Rabbit. What's up, Jay Rabbit? Jay Rabbit checking out the crimes in the social media verse, right? Also, we got Miss Pie Crust. What's up, Miss Pie Crust? I want some pie right now. I never don't want pie. All right, what's up, y'all? Sweet Dude Shibby. We got Dark Arts by Adrian here. Dom S. Rhonda Holton. Hey, Rhonda. Who else is in here? Tracy Fleetwood. What's up, Tracy? What's up, Erin? Erin says she's screwed and super slow. Well, that could be a good thing. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, what's up, Sweet Dude Shibby? Cracking up already. Aaron Town. What's up? Aaron Town's in the house. What's up, Aaron Town? Thanks for coming in. Miss Pie Crust, Diana, J Rabbit. Ricardo, too. Good evening to you. Happy Friday. Good to see you. Also, Barbara Borman, welcome in, coming in. Let's just say Louisa's eggs got yeeted from chat seconds after writing about Adrian and Alex tonight. Yeesh. Tell you what, she's a shit-talking troublemaker. All right, what's up, y'all? What's up? Yeah, I do laugh at your shenanigans when I come back and read it. See what have I missed while I was getting ready to come on? All right. Rebecca Ann, I'll be coming in and out of the chat tonight. My son is camping out with about 5 15-year-olds. They got a bonfire going, so I got to kind of keep an eye on them shits so we don't burn down the woods. What's up, y'all? All right. Good job, Rebecca Ann. Oh. What else we got? We got Court of Public Opinion reminding everyone subscribe. And not only that, subscribe to this channel and to the backup channel. And if you happen to be on the backup channel, which is called the Prof True Crime, please come on and subscribe to this channel, which is called the Prof. So please subscribe to both channels. It would really help me out. I'm trying to build the backup channel, the little channel, the Prof True Crime channel, because when I move on from this subject matter, I will still be going on the True Crime channel, but I'll be changing gears here. So please subscribe to both channels. What's up, Fur Baby Daddy? All right. What's up, Pie Crust, Barbara Borman, Rebecca Ann. Okay. Good to see everybody. Icy Cat's up in here. What's up, Icy Cat? All right. All right. What's up, Nancy Drew 101? Good to see you. Saying hello to everybody. Look how sweet that is. Sweet Dude Shibby with the tacos, Amy with the flowers, Diana with the sunflowers, Dom S with the puppy, Mandy with the detective or the sleuth, Adrian with the kissy face flowers, Miss Pie Crust with the pie and some love, Erin with the sleuther and the popcorn, Tracy Fleetwood with the party horn and the kissy face, Rhonda with the flowers and the heartbeat, J Rabbit with the rabbit and the kissies, and Icy Cat with the kitties, Kay with the sunflower and the sleuther, Rebecca Ann having a party, and Barb don't get shit. Or did I get it the other way around? All right. Everybody, thank you. Thank you. All right. Silenced, hey, what's up? Silence coming in. Don't forget to click all. The chat filter is a pain. It should not exist. All right. All right, y'all. So everyone's coming in here. Appreciate that. Marie Kelly, hey, what's up with you? Hello, Marie. Welcome in. Also, Pinky in the Brain, welcome in. Thank God it's Friday. Sweet dude. Shibby Digital, hey, long time no see. Digital, my job sucks and I'm driving home. Hopefully, I'll get home tonight to at least say hi, lurking until then. All right, y'all. What's up, Digital? All right, Goddess coming in. What's up, Goddess? Good to see you. Lisa's coming in. Hey, Lisa. Boom, Lisa came in. All right, Nancy Drew, silenced. Crystal Blue Persuasion, there you are. Thanks for coming in. All right, who else we got in here tonight? Let's see. Don Mass, Sweet Dude Chibi's just having a party of his own. All right, Gretchen Allen, welcome, and thanks for coming in. All right, Barbara Boardman. Miss K, hey, Miss K coming in. All right, where are Dieter and Cosmo? I will say pray for Dieter and pray for Cosmo, please. Cosmo needs your prayers. All right, Barbara Boorman, what's up? Kate Eleanor, hello to you. Thanks for coming in. Good job, good job. Nicole Watt, welcome in. You're coming in too. All right, thanks, Nicole. Kate, Gretchen, artist formerly known, welcome in. There you go. Thanks for coming in. All right, you guys, boom. LB coming in. What's up, LB? Thanks for coming in. Also, Marlo. Hey, Marlo, welcome on in, and thanks for coming. There's Dieter. Speaking of the devil, she will appear. All right, 5 Green Acres as well. Welcome in. All right, the whole crew's here tonight. Boom. Well, it's Friday. You guys always know I'll be around, so good to see you all coming in. And everyone else who's lurking, please join the chat. Come on, it's nice. We're going to have a little dad talk tonight, okay? We'll discuss why it's nice to talk. All right, y'all. What's up, LB? All right, down. Dieter, Pie Crust, Fur Baby Daddy, Mandy, Tracy. Oh, there's Tiffany coming in. Hey, Tiffany. Thanks for making it in. Boom. We got Pie Crust, Tiffany, Diana. All right. All right, y'all. Please support Heather Brown's GoFundMe here. Please do help out Heather Brown in a tough time and send her some love over there at the GoFundMe. Heather Brown, make her life easier. And also, if you have extra, come and support the channel at the Prof. Today's the last day of the month, so it's a good day, or the last live of the month. So it's a good day to support the channel. What's up, JPJ? Good to see you. All right. All right. Who else we got coming in? Hey, what's up? It's a new day. Boom. Guest of honor tonight. It's a new day. All right. Guest of honor tonight is It's a New Day. Okay. She gets special treatment tonight. What's up? It's a new day. All right. All right, y'all. We love you, Cosmo. We love you, Cosmo. Maybe she'll watch the replay and feel the love, right? All right, y'all. I am trying to see if anyone else is in here who have not greeted yet. So I think we're doing good. We're not, it's not taking, whoa, Brenda's here. What's up, Brenda? It's not taking too long. So we did good. All right. Yeah. And where's Dino's fur? All right. Hold on a minute, please. All right. What's up, y'all? Look, Mark got a super chat here. Welcome in. Mark Ellis coming in, throwing down the money on the table. Thank you, Mark. Now, listen, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Mark, thank you so much for supporting the channel on the last day of the month. And also, please understand, Heather Brown is Heather Brown is operating a GoFundMe. You guys, please put down Heather Brown's link so that everyone can support Heather Brown. But thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate that. Monkey Lady, hey, Monkey Lady's coming in. All right, Mark, Monkey Lady, coming in together. Where you guys been? You guys hanging out? Oh, thank you so much, y'all. All right. Dirty Diana's getting excited. All right. Silenced here. Thank you, Mark. Guys, that's so kind of you, Mark. Says K. All right, y'all. Becky, hey, what's up, Becky B33 here? Welcome in, welcome in. All right, boom, shakalaka. All right, y'all. So, Hebby's Dino? Oh, Hebby's Dino. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, y'all. So, listen. Now, there's so much to talk about. Um, Guys, in case you haven't realized it yet, I know many of you have known this for quite a long time. Let's be honest here. Many of you have known this for quite a long time, but we have a problem in this community. There is a problem in this community. And man, it's really tough. It's really tough because it's so difficult. And look, no one wants to talk about difficult things, right? Like, whoever wants to have the difficult conversations? Um, Nobody does. But I think it's becoming very apparent to those who have not had not already realized it for years that there's a big problem in the community, and it's it's really difficult to talk about because it's not like it's a small problem. You know what I mean? Small problems are, they're easy to put your finger on and identify, and then kind of get an understanding, get past it. Uh, Big problems that are complex, they're not so easy, right? And truly, I believe that we have a big problem in this community that's complex. And I'm often reminded, and I think everyone has known this, right? Everyone intuitively knew that when Doug Carter started inserting or interjecting this term tentacles in this community, it's pretty clear everyone knew on a gut level that Doug Carter was telling the truth. And it's kind of funny how time goes by and things change and people forget. And I often wonder, did Doug Carter forget? Because where he left this community is a dumpster fire. And honestly, it's difficult and not always appropriate to blame all the problems on one person. But let's be honest here. To a large extent, it's somewhat accurate to say that the dumpster fire that is currently burning in this community would not exist had Doug Carter not walked away and allowed it. And, so I'm not really a hateful person. I don't want to project a lot of hate onto one person and that be Doug Carter. But sometimes it's like, if the shoe fits, wear him. And unfortunately, what it looks like with Doug Carter, when he wakes up in the morning, he sits on the edge of his bed and he puts his pants on one leg at a time. The shoe fits. Doug Carter is enjoying his retirement. He was able to step away with some inference of success, as if he did his job and mission was accomplished. And honestly, if you look at the irony of it all, it's very interesting with the timing of it all. Because Doug Carter was going to be out of there regardless with the change of politics in Indiana and the governorship. The clock was ticking on Doug Carter. And somehow, miraculously, they got this thing initiated, progressed, and finalized before that clock ran out on Doug. And it's really like a tragedy in the most honest sense. I would say if Shakespeare had a colleague that was more akin to what's his name? David Lynch. I would say this would be somewhat of a Lynchian sort of tragedy in which it's ugly. There's no beauty. And at the ending, there's only heartbreak, disgust, longing, and sorrow. And you see, so when I think of this community and this term tentacles and the problem that's endemic in this community, I think of these sorts of things. And it's really tragic. Now, when I reference the ugliness of it, what I mean is that literally every aspect has been so ugly. Now, anger, passion, frustration, aggression, all of these things that this sort of tragedy stirs in a human being. They're difficult feelings. I'm sure all of you have been sick to the point where you're almost or nearly disoriented because the viruses and complications due to the illness are so stirred within you that they almost overwhelm you. And you can hardly speak, hardly think, hardly walk. And this is what I mean, because it's this sort of anger and frustration. And you see, when those things are happening, you want an outlet to pour these things onto, because it's nearly impossible to keep all of that pent up within inside. And when I look around and I see the mixture of behaviors, of illogical things, the trolling, the hate, the doxing, the screaming, the yelling, I see inside, and I see this baby having a tantrum, so to speak, where they don't know how to express the frustration or who to direct it to. So it ends up being broadcast to anyone within reach, often to those closest. And this happens in our personal lives as well, where often we'll reach out and hurt family and friends and lovers because we don't know how to direct the feelings that are stirring within us onto the right people. And so I tend to understand that this problem in the community that's so comprehensive and complicated, that it's multi-tiered. Okay, there are many reasons for the various problems. All the problems don't have the same causes. So there are all these levels of motivating factors behind the problems that you see. And I find it odd that in this frustration, especially when you look at our corner, which is fairly sympathetic to the injustices that were apparent and perpetrated at towards Richard Allen specifically. It's clear that there's a lot of frustration that is to be had. There's enough to go around, because you look at Richard Allen and you look at what we saw, like if I make it personal and I put myself in my own shoes going back 2 years ago, I have to say, I knew it. I knew it. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is that when Richard Allen was arrested and then cast in to Westville, and before the attorneys went in and took that photograph of his condition, I have to be honest with you all. I knew it. I had this sixth sense after he'd been in there for a while. I had the sixth sense. And I felt like they're going to kill him. I felt like they're torturing him. They're abusing him. They're trying to threaten him to confess. I knew it. I just knew it. I knew he was deteriorating. I knew his condition was horrendous. I assumed that he was walking around in his own feces. There was just some inner knowing within me. And I said, I knew it. I just knew it. And I sat here and I did these shows without saying a word about it. I just knew it, and it was irking me. I sat here and it irked me. And I did show after show, and I tried to do all the shit that these channels still try to do. I tried to go through the case and go through the screenshots and go through all the community's whisperings over the years and go through the witnesses and go through the 2 a.m. screams and go through the ad nauseum fucking information in this case. Remember, we got good information mixed in with disinformation and misinformation. It's just a mountain of information. And I sat here and I went through that mountain of information the whole time knowing it. And so I have to admit, when the defense attorneys released that photo, it wasn't really a surprise to me. It was still a shock to me, but it wasn't a huge surprise because I already had that inner knowing that that's what was happening. And I figured he's going to be dead soon. I assumed there would not be a trial because he wouldn't make it. But I guess he shocked all of us in that way. And somehow we got to this point where a trial happened. And I sat here with you through that trial. And I sat here on the day of the verdict coming. And I sat here minutes before that verdict was announced. And I said, there's absolutely no way they're going to go with guilty. Impossible. Yet, to all our dismay, that jury returned a guilty verdict. And it was jarring, I must say. It was jarring. It was shocking. It was shocking. No one in their right mind, having paid attention, would ever have thought that they would return a guilty verdict. It seemed impossible, literally. I assumed a hung jury at most. So let me just say, as someone who witnessed all of that and felt all of those emotions, I can sympathize with everyone who has all of this built-in frustration and anger, rage at what happened here. I can also understand that people for years invested their energies in trying to find the killers of Abby and Libby. After all, this community was magnetic. This case was magnetic. So it drew a community to it that was highly invested in helping these girls out, finding their killers. Throughout all the complexity, all of the changes of direction, all of the bullshit, all of the PR, the gaslighting, the lies, the family's shit, and the cop shit, and all of the stuff, people remained invested. The thousands and thousands of screenshots they had to process, the gatekeepers, the speech police, narrative controllers, the drama queens. I understand it. I understand the feelings because some people have been in this since day one. 7, 8 years invested. And then to see things go this way. So I understand that there are people who are well-meaning people who are full of rage. And they can't direct it at Nicholas McClellan or the state police or Judge Gold because they don't touch Nicholas McClellan, the state police, or Judge Gold. The state police, Nicholas McClellan and Judge Gold, don't interact with them on social media. They're not accessible. They don't sit here and talk to them and interact with them interactively here in this social media community, in this community here on social media. The social media verse that we know as Delphi. So what happens is that they're unable to express these feelings and vent these feelings onto the responsible parties. They cannot go to the corrections officers with the Odin patches and scream and yell at them in their face and slap them and swing their arms at them, beat them up, whatever. They want to express the rage, the frustration. So what they end up with is they end up with messengers. People who had absolutely no hand in the outcome here. People like you and me and other creators, both on the prosecution side and on the defense's side, across the spectrum. They're able to interact with all of us. They're able to speak to us. They're able to watch us. They're able to scream and yell and beat up on us because we're here. We're accessible. They can touch us. And that's just the surface level because it gets even deeper, which is that we also realize that we have another problem. And that there appear to be bad actors inserted all throughout this community in different places you wouldn't expect, and in some you would. And those bad actors will naturally, they will also beat up, scream and yell, express rage, intimidation, anger, and evil towards you and me. Because that's what they're here for. And so you look at it all, and it's a panorama. Like I said, it's a multi-tiered community with all of these various types of tentacles and all the things you have to navigate and understand. And so we end up in a place where I can say, well, you see, this is the reason that honesty is important. Because it's complicated enough. It's a labyrinth So at every turn, we need honesty. And the thing is, I happen to be someone who's pretty adamant about expecting it. Now, clearly you've seen that in the past couple months, there's been a lot of difficulty. And I just can't understand. It's nearly impossible for me to understand this difficulty. Because I'm a simple person at my root. I'm very simple. So I look at this and I say, this should be easy. And I didn't set out to hurt anyone, you see? For instance, you all know that they're trolls, right? And in dealing with trolls for 2 years, I still never set out to hurt any of them. So naturally, I would not set out to hurt anyone on this side. But my insistence on honesty is pretty non-negotiable. Because I position myself in a place where I think, listen, this is the double homicide of 2 little girls, 2 children. Why would you ever be dishonest about it? And about anything? And honestly, that's my bottom line. Now, I'd like you to notice that I asked simple questions. So as an introduction to what we're going to talk about tonight in the first part, I want to kind of rehash some of these simple questions. And you may remember, after March 12th of this year, with the release of this video, sorry about that. Hold on. With the release of this video, I asked a simple question. Where did it come from? Who released it? Now keep in mind, on March 11th, the state public defender filed the notice of appeal. March 11th. The next day, March 12th, it appeared on My Case, Indiana. And like clockwork, with the appearance of this notice of appeal on My Case, immediately several things kicked into motion like clockwork. And this was all a plan. Don't doubt it. What happened was, it was known that on March 11th, the notice of appeal was filed by the state public defender. So this group of individuals immediately started to watch out for My Case, which meant this group was constantly checking My Case. Because a plan had been set into motion. And that plan was that as soon as the notice of appeal was posted to My Case, several things would take place. Andy Kopsa, Michael Osbrook, Kara Weinecke would go live and lay the foundation, the groundwork for the public's understanding, or the community, the inner community's understanding of this website and of this video. The next thing that happened is, as soon as this posted to My Case, R&M Productions went live and pretended not to know that this was all going down, pretended not to know who was behind this, pretended not to know what this was, and pretended to be the first time this was ever seen. And R&M Productions sat there and guided everyone through the website and guided everyone through the video, while in the chat, the narrative controllers established the talking points, because the audience was asking the difficult questions. Questions like, who posted this? Where's this from? Is this the enhanced version? Who posted this? Where's this from? Is this the enhanced version? And every question was shot down immediately in the chat. And that went on for 1 hour. And after this very awkward LARPing within a LARP, everyone was sent over to criminality channel, the criminality channel. Everyone was sent over to the criminality channel. Hey, everybody, go over there. Wherein a community discussion was had. And the talking points were reiterated over and over and over and over again. So within the first 4 to 5 hours, all questions had been shut down. All organic questions were shut down. Now, keep in mind, like I said, live number 1 was Kopsa, Osbrook, and Weinecke laying the foundation, the groundwork. Live number 2 was R&M Productions with the premiere and introduction of the website. And live number 3, the capstone, was the community discussion. All 3 of them were one thing. It was a production. Perfectly timed. Knowing that, it should be no wonder that questions were asked. Questions like, who posted this video? Where's this from? What is it? And honestly, These are the most organic questions. The most organic questions. There's zero doubt about it. The first questions anyone would ask: what is this? Where is it from? And who did it? Now, keep in mind, this is March 12th. I tried my hardest to understand why those questions would not be answered. And not only were those questions not answered, and trust me, these are easy questions, these are simple questions. Not only were they not answered, but they were lied about. Okay, so in other words, these little questions, they could have easily been answered immediately. Okay, in the foregoing in this example I'm about to give, I'm not alleging any particular chain of custody or any facts. This is all hypothetical that I'm going to say now. But I'm going to give you some examples of how this could have happened, okay? For instance, someone could have said, where did this come from? And the answer could have been as simple as, well, so-and-so gave it to me. Question number two could have been, what is this? And the immediate answer could have been, this is the video from ABC. The third question asked, how did this get on the website? And someone could have said, well, individual A had received the extraction and extracted the video. Individual A handed it off to individual B. Individual B then messaged individual C and sent it by, I don't know, fucking Google Drive to individual C, who then handed it to individual D. And individual D literally took it and posted on the website. And you see, in this sort of way, a very clear factual explanation of every step with receipts to boot would have immediately resolved all questions. But no, that couldn't happen. You know, that couldn't happen. And so causes one to wonder why. What would it be that would prevent you from answering it the easy way, the simple way, the honest way, the direct way, and the immediate way, putting to rest all concerns? But instead, it's first met with lies in version 1, then there's version 2, then there's version 3. All right? And then time goes by and more time goes by and more. And then we're nearing the 2-month part. 2-month point. And breadcrumbs begin to be dropped. Not answers, not straight answers, not honest answers, but a month and a half in, nearing the 2-month point, breadcrumbs begin to be dropped to try to appease everyone asking questions. Then, simultaneously, while this is happening, something else transpires in which the retainer agreement begins to be discussed all over Twitter. And there's this false sense of urgency that's being drummed up. And I'm watching it. And I'm like, what the hell is this discussion here? And then I come into possession of it. And then simultaneously, I'm noticing the narrative on Twitter, the false sense of urgency, it starts to morph and it starts to pivot. And it very immediately and strongly pivots. And what it pivots to is tort claim. Statute of limitations. So I'm watching Twitter and I'm observing very closely. I'm like, okay, false sense of urgency about post-conviction relief or post-conviction investigation contract. Now pivoting to, oh no, not that. Tort claim, statute of limitations. And I'm watching it all. And I'm thinking, this is odd. In the meantime, I'm noticing this entire wave of harassment, which I term gang stalking, starts to build like a tidal wave coming your way. I'm like, what's up with this harassment, gang stalking, doxing? And while all of this is happening, I start getting emails separated by week or 2 or 3. First email is like, Prof, I was a donor to the Rick Allen Defense Expert Fundraiser, which I'm sure you remember. And I want to know how much of those funds remain and what's going to be done with them. Then I get a phone call. And another person says, Prof, I donated a large sum of money to that fundraiser. And I don't know where it is. And I'm not getting straight answers from the people who should know the answers. And then I get another person who messages me. And they say, I donated to the fundraiser. And I have questions about it. And I've sent messages to Stripe. And I'm not getting any clear answers. And so this continues to happen until I'm suddenly aware of a handful of donors who are all asking the same questions and having the same concerns. And remember, simultaneously, there's all of this noise and false sense of urgency about tort claims and statute of limitations and suing the prison, and Kathy needs lawyers, and there's a post-conviction investigation needs to happen, and we need to be doing it. And we're all, who's speaking for Kathy? No one's speaking for Kathy, and everyone's speaking for Kathy, and no one's speaking for Kathy. And still, how dare you demand information about this video? It's a fucking exhibit. But we can't give you the exhibit number, and the judge hasn't given any exhibits of a similar sort. So there's nothing to compare it to verify it's an exhibit. So suddenly I'm in the midst of a hurricane. But because of my nature, I'm in the eye of the storm. And I'm watching it all swirl around me. And I'm thinking, this is interesting. And I've never pretended to be perfect. I've never pretended to be politically correct or kind at all times. I tend to worry about what's important. And so the whole time, my finger's on the pulse of what are the honest people saying? What are the genuine, honest, truthful people saying? What are they showing? And I'm keeping my finger on that pulse. And I'm seeing very clearly. At the same time, I'm seeing all of the people go absolutely berserker around me. Because I refuse to relent. And I stand tall because I know that I'm doing the right thing. Anyhow, like I said, you have people who have all of this frustration and anger, rage, internalized because of what happened both to Abby and Libby and to Rick Allen. And they're looking at me, and I am obviously upsetting the status quo because I cannot allow to stand dishonesty, even if it's on my side. And because I'm upsetting the status quo, and it's somewhat of an earthquake. So imagine in this community, not only do we have a hurricane, but simultaneous with the hurricane, there's an earthquake. The ground is shifting because the status quo is being upset. It's truly an apocalyptic scenario. And so this is when the true colors are shown. Remember, if you've ever followed the preppers community, they practice for a STHF scenario, or shit hit the fan scenario. And essentially, this is what we've been experiencing in the community, is a shit hit the fan scenario. And so that's my introduction to our subject matter tonight, which will be that tonight we're going to cover two topics. Both topics are crucial and prescient elements of the shit hit the fan scenario. And that is that first, we're going to discuss the 2024 fundraiser for defense experts. That was initiated under the umbrella of David Hennessy. And we'll take a look at some things. And then we're going to, in part two, we're going to cover the most surprising and recent development that's also an aspect of the shit hit the fan scenario in this community, which is the alleged second juror who has stepped forward with the most unbelievable take on the trial of Richard Allen. Again, if you thought the first juror and her statements were alarming, this is exponentially more alarming. And not only that, it's only a glimpse into what's to come, because the individual who is bringing forth this juror's information says that there are many more installments to come of this juror's statements and feelings regarding the statement. So I guess, first of all, let's get into the first part here, which will be, let's see. This right here is my community post on the Prof YouTube channel. There's some things I like to talk about regarding this, okay? So first, I guess, as a way of getting into the topic, I'll read through this post, but it's there on the community wall for you all to check out yourself, okay? All right, so here we go. We're going to get into this right now. So this says, where are the funds that were raised for defense experts in the Richard Allen trial? All right, here we go. I said, below you will see the initial way that this fundraiser was sold to the public. This is taken directly from the fundraiser. This is the official expert expense fund for Richard Allen. Please be advised that no funds collected will be offset against fees related to David Hennessy's law firm, Richard Allen's defense team, or to Richard Allen. So that's a very, very, very important statement. Before we go one step further, every single listener within the sound of my voice needs to understand that statement and understand every word of it. Please be advised, before you send us your money, that no funds collected, no funds will be offset against fees, right, related to either David Hennessy's law firm or Richard Allen's defense team, or to Richard Allen himself. So do you understand that statement? Not one penny is going to David Hennessy, Richard Allen's defense team, or Richard Allen himself. And I would say that would also mean, or to Kathy Allen. Okay, now some facts. This fundraiser resulted in 709 donors, at least through this pathway. There may have been more unofficially. Remember that there were funds raised on various YouTube channels and whatnot that may have been routed in other ways. But according to this particular pathway, which is the official pathway through Stripe, there were 709 donors exactly, raising funds in the amount totaling $40,220.76. Okay? $40,000, 220 and 76 cents, according to the official site. $40,000, 220, 76. There are 100 pages of documents that were recently unsealed regarding defense funding, which I exhaustively covered in the following live stream. And that live stream, you can click on this link here. You see the link? So if you click on that link, it will bring you to my live stream called Show Me the Money, in which I went through every single page of the 100 pages of court orders and other documents regarding defense funding. Okay, and I quote from the first page of that unsealing. I said that Judge Gull stated upon the unsealing of these records, quote, the state public defender filed the notice of appeal on March 11th, 2025. This court previously sealed numerous court orders at the defendant's request regarding ex parte motions for funding. Now, this is important too. Keep this in mind. These motions were filed between are filed on December okay. The sealing was requested on December 8th and granted on December 12th of 2022. Okay? So appellate counsel has requested access to some of those pleadings and orders. Court grants appellate counsel's request and unseals the orders from January 2024, 2023 through March 2025. So understand, court grants the appellate counsel's request and unseals the orders from January 24th, 2023 through present, which was March 2025. Right? So let me pull this down for a minute. Okay, so basically, Adrian recently asked a question about auditing the fundraiser funds. All right? And it's very odd because, as you know, I watch human behavior as a primary indicator of where red flags might exist. And I found it very odd that immediately upon Adrian's question, a reply was given. So first of all, let me go to Adrian's question and read it for you so you understand what the question was before we continue. So the question is as follows. Does anyone know how to file a petition to get signatures to demand an audit of the April 2024 Rick Allen Expert Fundraiser? I think if it's framed in a broader sense, it could extend out past Rick Allen and be a deterrent for online future grifts. Does anyone know how to professionally and legally bring these concerns to the IRS? If law enforcement is too afraid to take genuine harassment seriously, they may actually care about where some of the good faith donations made public have gone to. Disclaimer, the 2024 fundraiser in no way reflects negatively on Richard or Kathy Allen. They did not have much, if anything, to say on the matter. All right? So in response to that, I found it very, very odd that someone replied hatefully. So let me read this. It says, I find it very odd that after Adrian asked a very simple question about auditing the defense expert fundraiser account and questioned where the remaining funds currently reside, as many of my followers have also questioned, she receives the following hateful and grossly inaccurate reply by YouTuber All Eyes on Delphi. And I'm going to read some quotes from All Eyes on Delphi regarding this topic. Now, I've been busy with priorities and commitments, so I just now got around to this, but it only took me a whole 17 minutes to put the money defense had to front for experts into a spreadsheet and see how much was left over from the fundraiser after Gall authorized reimbursements. No clue why the people such concerned about the fundraiser haven't done it themselves, considering the court made all defense expenses available on April 11th, 2025, and it wasn't even remotely hard to find or figure out. Not trying to be rude, that's what you say when you're trying to be rude, but I am just clearly not the tree anyone should be trying to bark up when no one asked you in the first place. I'm just trying to make it easier for people to see the money went to what defense requested it for as I document each unsealed confidential order for the GitHub. But it's more important to note that one, the ex parte expenses are still privileged information that none of us were ever actually entitled to. The state has still not sufficiently disclosed their publicly funded expenses, even though that's public info. Three, there has been zero transparency about the fund that paid for Gull's defense after she illegally removed Baldwin and Rozzi to appoint counsel of her choice for Richard Allen. Adding the link to the 101 confidential orders Gull inexplicably unsealed before the public trial exhibits were even released, so people can at least answer their own questions. Okay, before I move on, let me say this, because there's too much here. First of all, there's so much here, okay? Gull very clearly stated why she unsealed it. So that's a non-issue, okay? And I quoted that up above this. She stated she unsealed it because the appellate team was asking for it. Okay, secondly, can't you hear the rage here, the frustration, the anger? Everything I was just describing the previous hour. Can't you hear it? Can't you feel it? Yes, there's frustration at the court and the state of Indiana. Okay? That frustration, however, at the court and the state of Indiana have nothing to do with genuine questions and concerns that donors have about their monies. Okay? Let me continue before I pontificate too much. There's more. Now, the following, everyone, you need to know is grossly inaccurate. So please do not listen to the following for facts or accuracy's sake. Okay, but we'll continue on that later. The total amount for experts was more than $100,000, as you would have easily be able to see from all the defense's spreadsheet that I've now provided twice. Well, your spreadsheets are inaccurate, so they're irrelevant. Gull denied almost $10,000 for experts and further expenditures for other experts that she previously approved. I'm guessing I'll figure out where the remaining went, or it will go before you, or where it will go before you do, since I'll actually look into bro, while you'll just continue spending your days trying to cry bully others into doing the work for you instead of simply doing it yourself. No one asked you to do this, all eyes. All right? The actual cost of experts was more than $100,000, not including almost $10,000 in denied requests and expenditures that Gull denied. Yeah, but that's obfuscating the point, and we'll talk about why later. You're welcome to beat me to getting to those, but most of the questionable people are asking have either been answered. Most of the questions people are asking have either been answered multiple times, no they haven't. In multiple ways, no they haven't. In multiple places for anyone to find, no they haven't. Okay? There's been no auditing of the fundraiser. Gull never makes it easy, but she did finally release all the information needed for literally anyone to be able to figure out precisely who, when, where it all went. Yeah, I've done that. Prior to that, defense would have been violating her order on ex parte funding if they disclosed it. Right. But so far, but every step of the way that I've broken it down turns out all went exactly as they said it would at the actual time. That's convoluting the conversation. We now have names, invoice numbers, and orders that actually anyone wanting to know can simply look for and figure out for themselves. Literally anyone is welcome to beat me to breaking it down in all the various ways. I donated for morale, and I don't give a fuck where it went. Well, that's crazy. I'm only doing it to include it in all the things Richard Allen case GitHub. Yeah, well, personally, I want proof of your taxes or bank statements to prove your complaints are from an actual donor, but I am not entitled to that. Am I? No, that's called you're doing another straw man. You're doing another straw man right here. This is not about the people asking the questions, because anyone can ask the questions, but it's especially important when donors ask about their donations, because they have legal recourse in this. Probably why I'm not wine streaming and throwing a nonstop hissy fit about it. But you feel free to cry it out as long and hard as you need to about not getting more than you're entitled to. I think the donors are entitled to a thorough and accurate accounting of every penny of that fundraiser, actually. If you genuinely wanted to know, you would have at least spent 1 minute looking at the information released by the court and the attorneys instead of triggering people and demanding other people audit. That's what's right the fuck at your own goddamn fingertips. Well, damn, that's rude. But guess what? I don't know why you're talking to Adrian that way, but I have done at least 10 hours of studying those 100 pages of documents. And so I'm very well aware. And I've also spoken to several donors, and I've also spoken to several people who've spoken to quote unquote insiders. And I don't think I should have to spell their names out for you, but we know that there are, let's be honest here. Some of the lawyers behind the scenes here are telling different stories to different people about this money. I'm going to just break it down and be fucking actually honest with my people right now. Listen, some of these lawyers behind the scenes are telling different stories to different people about where the money went, where the money was spent, and where the money is right now. And that's concerning. Like I said, I look at human behavior for the red flags, and there's red flags all around this. The funds were raised in 2023, not 2024. False. False. Listen, I'll show you right now. When's the end date? When's the end date of this? Someone tell me the end date. It says there, May 10th, 2024, right? May 10th, 2024. So this is not correct here, actually. The fund were raised in 2023, not 2024, when the trial was 1 month away, because they weren't sure if Richard Allen would survive at that point because of a condition at the point. Jesus fucking Christ. Also, at that point, Gold was refusing to allow the most obs of basic experts like effing pathologies, DNA expert, while also refusing to authorize funding for any experts in time for the 1 month away trial. And that left the defense in a position of having to try to defend Richard Allen without experts or come up with tens of thousands of dollars to front the cost for consultations and or retainers, and then whatever fees would be incurred without any assurances that Gold would even authorize reimbursements, while the state had a blank check for all of it. And judge who believed the defense simply being able to cross-examine the state's experts was sufficient due process, which it is not, which was the whole fucking point of the fundraiser. After Gold cornered the defense into asking for a continuance by refusing to give them the time they needed to cross-examine the state's fully funded case and put on whatever the defense they could scrap together. More requests for the only option left. Experts were made. Some were authorized for payment. Others were not. How the fuck you think you or anyone was cheated out of anything in this situation is fucking incredible. This is a prime example of what I was talking about, y'all, which is the absolute furious rage that's festering within that should be directed to the state of Indiana, Nicholas McClelland, and Judge Gull, okay? That's where that rage should be properly directed. No one's disagreeing with any of these points regarding the rage that should be directed to the state actors, okay? Now, the thing you have to understand, all eyes, is that asking the questions about the specifics, the technicalities, and the auditing of the money that was taken in is extremely appropriate, pertinent, and relevant at this point in time, because trial is over. Judge Gull has already paid out all the reimbursements, and all of that information has been unsealed and been made publicly available. So it's not any fuzzy territory anymore. Everything should be crystal clear. The fact that you have several donors who donated in the amounts that I would consider mega donors, which means above $2,000, you have several donors in that range contacting me asking questions, I think you have a problem. And I think that David Hennessy and whoever is in control of these funds right now has to provide clear answers. And you're going to find out why. Then she makes it personal again, addressing Adrian. If you hadn't spent the last umpteen weeks repeating lies to justify your personal feelings, what lies has Adrian told? This might not be so difficult for you, but you're experiencing a personal problem and you're mistaking facts that contradict your personal feelings for an actual problem in the real world that doesn't actually exist outside of your personal feelings and beliefs. Well, how does that tie into the other 4 donors who have messaged me asking me where the money is? Go smear, pest, and wind people up somewhere. That dumb shit is appreciated, because I'm not impressed with your dedication to look for a perceived problem with every single answer and solution that doesn't justify all the big feelings you're experiencing on the inside. This is a case of pure projection. Okay? This is pure projection. Remember, getting back to my point here when I read Adrian's post, Adrian did not address her question to All Eyes on Delphi. Okay? The fact is that All Eyes on Delphi took it upon herself to read Adrian's post and then go on a tirade, okay, about Adrian's post with all of these words and all of this anger and frustration, okay? She also took it upon herself to make a grossly inaccurate spreadsheet, which we're going to get into shortly. Okay. So I say none of this is accurate. And none of this is accurate. And I'm going to give you 2 examples right now. Okay? I'm going to give you 2 examples. So I say 2 things. So firstly, I say, I'd like to draw your attention to the following quotation from the retainer agreement presented to Kathy Allen that was proposed by Michael Osbrook and Carol Weinecke. Okay? Paragraph number 7 of that retainer agreement under authorizations states, quote, let me make it clearer for you. That's not good. Here's a quotation. Authorizations to advance the post-conviction investigation. The client authorizes post-conviction counsel to, look at this, to obtain from David Hennessy any funds publicly raised during pretrial phase of the client's criminal case. I can't speak tonight. Okay. Once again, let me start over. It says, paragraph number 7 under authorizations, to obtain from David Hennessy any funds publicly raised during the pretrial phase of the client's criminal case and currently in Mr. Hennessy's possession or control. Okay, remember, this is Michael Osbrook and Carol Weinecke including in their retainer agreement for permission to obtain from David Hennessy any funds publicly raised during this fundraiser during the pretrial phase of the client's criminal case and currently in Mr. Hennessy's possession or control. So I respond and I say, if there were no funds, okay, if there were no funds remaining, $0 remaining from the David Hennessy Rick Allen Defense Expert Fundraiser, why then was Osbrook and Weinecke asking for the remaining funds? Okay, it's just a very basic, very basic logical thought experiment here. Okay, very basic. In the contract, quote unquote, the retainer agreement proposed by Michael Osbrook and Carol Weinecke for Kathy Allen, under paragraph 7, one of the permissions requested was to obtain from David Hennessy any funds publicly raised during the pretrial phase fundraiser. Okay, currently in Mr. Hennessy's possession or control. All right. And I respond that if there are no funds, $0 remaining, why then is Osbrook and Weinecke asking for the remaining funds? Okay. Now, even more importantly, here, I say, secondly, there's the obvious fact that the court, Judge Gull, paid for Stacey Eldridge in entirety, as seen in the documents below. In other words, the court paid for Stacey Eldridge in entirety. Okay, and I'm going to show you that momentarily. And I actually realized I forgot to make my graphic I wanted to make for you, but I'll explain it to you with my hands. And I described that this is a gross miscalculation by All Eyes on Delphi. Okay, to the point that one must question whether it was intentional or if she's trying to hide the missing funds. Here are the pertinent quotations from the court, and I'm quoting from the 100-page unsealed defense expenditure document stack. Court authorizes reimbursement to Andy Baldwin in the amount of $12,400 for Eldridge, a cell phone expert. Okay, and that was from September 30th, 2024. I'll show it to you momentarily. Another quote from another one. Per the September 30th, 2024 order, court authorizes payment to Andrew Baldwin in the amount of $12,400 as reimbursement for payments made to Stacey Eldridge. Check number 1760 for $6,400 and check number 11123 for $6,000. Again, if you add $6,400 and $6,000, you end up with $12,400, a perfect reimbursement for cell phone expert Stacey Eldridge. And this is dated March 4th, 2025. Okay. All right. Continuing. I say, I know that your MO is to pontificate, to position yourself as some kind of authority, and to post all kinds of irrelevant information in an attempt to overwhelm the reader with hocus pocus or razzle dazzle. That means distractions when confronted with very simple questions. Okay? Very simple questions should demand very simple answers. Let's be honest here. You're terrible at numbers. The spreadsheet you posted is full of errors. Why rush to answer these questions which you know nothing about? No one expects a YouTuber to be auditing or answering any detailed accounting questions about a fundraiser that concerned and verified donors are asking about. You are trying to shut down valid questions. If there's no problem with the monies, then there should be no problem with the proper people answering these questions. Period. Okay? Now, let me continue, because I want to show you guys something. This right here was sent to me from a donor. This particular donor, in April, and actually on prior to April 1st, as you can see. This particular donor in March had questions about her donation. Oh, damn it. I shouldn't have said a name. I shouldn't have said a sex, I mean. Sorry, I didn't mean to reveal anything whatsoever because these people are stalkers. Okay, forget it. This particular donor sent an email to pay it to in late March to ask about their donation. And this is the reply that this particular donor received on April 1st, as you can see, from Thomas Zen. It says, hello, redacted. Pay it to is just a platform for creating the fundraiser page. And this is the important part. The account where the funds went was in Stripe, and all due diligence was done by Stripe to ensure the organizer and account owner was indeed who it said. Since this is the second inquiry like this in 2 days, which is also interesting. So that means in late March, there was another inquiry prior to this particular donor. So this is the second donor in 2 days as of April 1st who had asked about this Stripe account. And so he says, where's this doubt coming from? Okay, so next we're going to go to the initial posting so that you can see how this was advertised to the people. All right, check this out. Experts for Richard Allen. Okay? Experts for Richard Allen. $40,220 of $45,000 raised. Deadline was May 10th, 2024. Organized by David R. Hennessy Law Office. Okay. Remember this one? Stripe in all due diligence ensured the organizer account owner was who it said. This says it's David R. Hennessy Law Office. Okay. And it says this is the official expert expense fund for Richard Allen. Again, the official expert expense fund for Richard Allen. Richard Allen was once employed as a licensed pharmacy technician at the CVS in Delphi. On October 31st, 2022, Mr. Allen was arrested for a crime that he maintains he did not commit. Mr. Allen has been accused of committing Abby and Libby's murders. But is investing everything he has to fight for his freedom. He is presumed innocent until proven guilty through a court of law and has an absolute right to a fair trial, which is currently being violated. Funds are being raised to pay expenses related to expert fees and costs. Okay? Note, and this is important, okay? Note, on 30 March 2024, the fund's target goal was increased by $20,000. We have identified the experts needed, and the cost of fees, travel, and lodging are greater than originally anticipated. And this is again what I quoted from here where it says, please be advised that no funds collected will be offset against fees related to David Hennessy's law firm, Richard Allen's defense team, or to Richard Allen. Donations are not tax deductible. Donation statistics. 709 people donated, a total of $40,220.76. Okay, powered by Pay It To, okay, which is an offshoot of Square LLC. Square, it's Square. Okay, Square. Remember? Stripe and square, it's all the same thing. Now, I'm going to take this down for a minute because here's an important part that I need to show you now. And listen, maybe at some point in the future, I can do an exhaustive accounting. I'm not going to do an exhaustive accounting tonight, but what I'm going to do tonight is give you one single example, okay, of a gross error in how this is put across. So let me first read through this so you will very clear that you all need to. I mean, basically, we're going to all have to become accountants if no one's going to step forward and put these concerns to rest. Okay, so for instance, let's take a look at this. Again, this is from September 30th, 2024. I've highlighted that, September 30th, 2024. And in the highlighted portion, or the red box, it says, court authorizes reimbursement to attorney Andrew Baldwin in the amount of $12,400 for Stacey Eldridge, a cell phone expert. Okay? So pay very close attention to those words. Court authorizes a reimbursement to Andy Baldwin. Okay. This is a follow-up which states, per the September 30th, 2024 order, court authorizes payment to Andrew Baldwin in the amount of $12,400 as reimbursement for payments made to Stacey Eldridge. And it says check number 1760 for $6,400 and check number 11123 for $6,000. Once again, you add these up, 6,400 plus 6,000 equals $12,400, right? So per the September 30th order, okay, per, that means in reference to, okay, you get it? In reference to this September 30th order, which is for $12,400. So this is asking for the money. This is granting the money in the form of two checks, one for $6,400 and one for $6,000. Okay. So here's what I'm trying to show you. Remember, this is two checks going out, referring back to this request for that one amount of $12,400. So look, this is what I'm trying to show to you, that this is grossly inaccurate. Okay, because if you take a look at this now, and if you look towards the bottom where it says Stacey Eldridge, notice if you go from Stacey Eldridge and you move right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, you get to the total. The total says $24,800. Okay? But here's a problem. Here's a problem. This is a gross error in calculating. Okay? Because it's all conflated here. It's all confused. This is not a proper balance sheet. Okay? For instance, the services of $12,400 that you see labeled as services, okay, that should be a negative balance. And check number 1760 and check number 11123 should both be positive balances. Okay, and when you would cross that negative 12,400 balance with the positive 12,400 balance, you should end up with 12,400 balance in the total. Okay. So this is just a single example of what I mean by this. These spreadsheets contain gross errors. Okay. For instance, this amount should total $12,400. Okay. Which means if you look down here in the total, this total is absolutely incorrect. Okay. Because none of these numbers make sense. And not only that, not only is it just this one, But I traversed this entire document, and there's another 3 pages, because there's a 4-page document that contain all of this information somewhat, but all the pages contain gross errors. For instance, there's some amounts that are in these 100 pages of unsealed documents that are not included in the spreadsheet that All Eyes has created. And then there's some numbers in the spreadsheet that All Eyes has created that are not anywhere in those 100 pages. So having seen at a minimum 3 of those errors in my brief review of the 4 pages of the spreadsheet, I came to the conclusion that the entire spreadsheet is just chock full of gross inaccuracies. So when you're looking at some sort of tally here, as is stated here, total fronted 49,131.01, fundraiser total for 40,220, remaining 8,911. Well, that's already off by 12,400. Okay, it's already off. This is already off by 12,400, and honestly, it's going to be more because there are other miscalculations here. Okay, now this is just critiquing the spreadsheet and the conclusions that All Eyes has come to on surface level, but it gets even deeper. Because here's what's not explained, and this is where I meant to make a graphic, and it totally escaped me because I was busy doing things before the show. I just totally forgot to make the graphic that I wanted to make for you all. But basically, you all have to understand how it's supposed to work like this, okay? This is the concept that I understand that we are dealing with here. And everyone needs to have a very firm grip on this. So if you're not paying attention prior, you probably pay attention now, so understand what we're saying. All right, so let's pretend here that you have a jar here, okay? And this jar is the fundraiser money. This is $40,220 and some change. $40,000 and 200, okay, right here. Okay, this is your bucket of fundraiser dollars right here. This money here was raised to provide for defense experts that Judge Gold did not approve or pay for. Okay, that the court did not fund. So this was supposed to be for experts who the court did not pay for. Okay, now let's pretend you got over here. You got something. Right here, you got Andy Baldwin's reimbursements from Judge Gold. In other words, this right here is one of them. This is just one, okay? There's going to be many of these. This is a reimbursement to Andy Baldwin. So these are 2 checks made out to Andy Baldwin for $12,400 totaling. Like I said, here you have a bucket with the fundraiser money, okay? Here you have Andy Baldwin's empty bucket, okay? So the way this is alleged to have worked is that there was this pressing need to pay experts, and there's this bucket of expert money here. So what we are understanding happened is that in this bucket, Andy Baldwin grabs $12,400 just for Stacey Eldridge. Okay, so there's 40,220. Of that 40,220, Andy Baldwin, with David Hennessy's permission, grabs into this money and pays Stacey Eldridge out. So Stacey Eldridge is not owed a dime anymore. She's fully paid. So she does her work, blah, 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 blah. In the meantime, Baldwin has asked for the money for Stacey Eldridge. Judge Gull approves the money and then, as you see, pays out the money. So when Judge Gull pays out the money, it goes here in Andy Baldwin's bucket. So here comes in Andy Baldwin's bucket $12,400. Boom, from Judge Gull. Now, question here. If that happened with every expert until that level was zero in the 40,000 bucket, and then if Judge Gull paid out dollars back in Andy Baldwin's bucket, which we know happened, there were all kind of reimbursements to Andy Baldwin. Should not have Andy Baldwin's bucket been brought over to back to the fundraiser dollars and dumped back in there? See, I would have to assume that the proper way to handle it would be that, yes, because that fundraiser was for experts Judge Gull did not pay for. Okay, so if you took $12,400 out of that bucket and gave it to Stacey Eldridge, and then Judge Gull gives you $12,400, then you're supposed to put that money back in that fundraiser bucket. Because that $12,400 is not a bonus to Andy Baldwin for the trouble of going reach in that fundraiser and pay Stacey Eldridge. You see what I mean? Now, there are no accusations here. We're not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying that you have to think logically how this balance sheet works or should work. Okay, so if we're looking at a balance sheet like this, okay, the way it's supposed to work is that the numbers have to add up. The numbers have to balance. So the problem here is that if you use $12,400 to pay Eldridge, and then Judge Gull also paid Eldridge, well, now you're talking about $24,800 allocated to Eldridge. That doesn't make sense because she's only properly allocated the $12,400. And like I said, I'm only using the Stacey Eldridge payment and reimbursement as an example. See, September 30th authorized, March 4th, 2025, paid out. Okay? So you got to understand where our minds are here, is that it's not about wrongdoing or casting blame. It's about honest questions about this fundraiser. Because $12,400 should not be missing from the $40,000 because Judge Gull paid. In other words, you cannot say that $12,400 is missing from the fundraiser for Stacey Eldridge because Judge Gull right here paid out $12,400 for Stacey Eldridge. That means it don't make sense. And you especially cannot do this type of terrible accounting and claim that $24,800 came out of the fundraiser for Stacey Eldridge, because that's a gross misrepresentation. $24,800 did not come out of that should be zero. That should be zero. Like, you understand? I hope everyone understands what I'm saying. That should be zero. Stacey Eldridge, zero. Because as I mentioned, the $12,400 for Stacey Eldridge, yes, was paid out of the fundraiser, but was paid or reimbursed by Judge Gull. So it should be zero from that fundraiser. Now imagine if that has happened several times over. They're huge accounting questions. So as far as where we are right now, all I know is I got donors asking me questions and receiving responses like we saw today, it ain't going to fly. It's not going to fly. Okay. Now, optimistically, we'd say this. The point of that fundraising money, yes, was for experts the court did not pay for. So if there are experts the court did not pay for, and we know there's probably a little, then yeah, there should be a little missing from that fundraiser. So there should not be 40,220 and 76 cents left, because there were some that Judge Gold did not approve. So some monies should be missing from that 40,220 and 76 cents to pay for the ones Judge Gold did not pay. But it's not going to be anywhere near half of the money or 2/3 of the money or 3/4 of the money. It's probably going to be a quarter or a third of that. So with that being said, as I mentioned, if I have to do the accounting on a live stream for everyone, then yeah, we can do that. But hopefully I won't have to go there, because I shouldn't have to. Like I said, the donors don't expect YouTubers to do the accounting. Okay. They expect David Hennessy's office, who is ultimately the party responsible for this fundraiser, to do an internal accounting or some sort of external accounting. And trust me, the way that people have been every 2 weeks coming to me with questions about these fundraiser funds, and I have no answers, I'm sure that these same people, as you can see, like as I shared with you, we know at a minimum now 2 have already gone to Pay It To, or Stripe or Square or Cash App, whatever you want to call it, this company. 2 people have already gone as of April 1st and asked about the monies. So I'm sure, and as I said, I had a handful who've come to me. I'm sure more people will be asking questions. So, obviously, as you see, organized by David R. Hennessy Law Office, we don't expect, we don't require, and we don't want YouTubers to be answering these questions, because if you're going to come with this kind of combative attitude, attacking Adrian in this way with gross inaccuracies, this is not your job. No one asked you, All Eyes, to look into this, to do this, and to try to fabricate some response and some sort of spreadsheets. You see, I attached that stuff here. You see. Anyway, you can see. Leo Weston says, I tried to ask All Eyes where the proof is that the leftover money went to Rick. All I got was a total dodge of my question and told, well, because Hennessy told us where it went. No, not good enough, not by a long shot. They expect me to believe his word. In this case, I believe no one and nothing without proof anymore. Thank you so much. God bless you. Exactly. I believe no one and nothing without proof anymore. I truly hope it went where he said, but I'm not taking anything at face value. Whichever side is saying something better have proof, or it's speculation and lies. This has gone on far too long. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Leah Weston. It's we're looking at, like I said, with this whole thing with All Eyes response here, the rage, okay, the fury, okay, it's understandable, as I mentioned. That's why I spent the whole first hour talking about it. The feelings are justified, but directing them at people asking genuine, pertinent, simple questions is the wrong action to take. It's the wrong step. It's the wrong person to direct this shit to. Okay. All those frustrations, all those feelings, all that rage, all that anger, should be directed to the court, to the law enforcement of Indiana, and to the prosecutor and those who did this to Richard Allen, and also, especially, to the killers who did this to Abby and Libby. Okay? And we're not asking you to harass anyone, period. Don't even harass David Hennessy. This is not an admonition of David Hennessy. This is not accusing David Hennessy of misappropriation of funds. Okay? What we are doing is saying donors are asking questions and answers need to be forthcoming. And having YouTubers do it with gross inaccuracies and willy-nilly and just saying it was spent on experts, we don't know where it is, it's with Baldwin, no, it's with Hennessy, it's in Stripe, it's not in Stripe, it's in an account, we don't know. Listen, here's how I feel. Every penny that's remaining that after an accurate accounting that should still be available, because guess what? That could be used by post-conviction investigators before the end of the appeal as money spent for a good cause. So that money that exists, that technically should be a pretty significant amount or substantial amount that should be remaining, it should be used for the right purposes when Mrs. Allen decides on post-conviction investigation. Okay, so when a team is brought in to do post-conviction investigation, that team should have access to those funds to do whatever post-conviction experts they need to tap to do further post-conviction investigation. And keep in mind, after the appeal, after the direct appeal is extinguished, it's very likely that the state of Indiana will appoint post-conviction counsel so that monies will not be needed from this fundraiser. So it's truly between now or between the time that Kathy Allen appoints or hires or signs on with post-conviction investigators, is between now and the time the direct appeal is over and post-conviction counsel is appointed free of charge. It's between now and then that those monies are needed. So I hope there is whatever, 40,000 or 32,000, 35,000. I hope there's a significant amount left in there so that it can be utilized by investigators. Okay, just a moment, please. All right, sorry, I'm back. You guys want to know what happened? It's really disgusting. So my dog's laying here with me, and I thought he farted a really terrible fart. But I went and I was like, man, it smells like a skunk. So I opened the front door, and sure enough, it's a skunk. So there are skunks in and around the neighborhood. And there was a skunk that sprayed. So, oh my God, you can't believe the AC is blowing it in. Woo! My eyes are watering. Yeah, we got raccoons and skunks and deer and rabbits all in the neighborhood. So who knows? Some skunk might have had an encounter with a deer, a raccoon, or a fucking rabbit. Who knows? Oh, it's horrible. My eyes are burning. All right, y'all. So my life, a skunk stopped by. Yeah. Ugh. I'm not turning the AC off though. It's catch 22. I'm gonna be breathing some skunky air now. All right, now. Um, so moving on. Yeah, exactly, right? Something kind of smells, kind of poetic. All right, so whew. Now moving on. Okay, moving on. We're done with the that. So listen, next subject. All right, let me get myself together for this. Let me make sure I can handle this. All right. Woo! All right. Now, moving on. All right. You guys are crazy. Gosh. Okay, y'all. All right, so let me move it on. Let me move on. Part two. Mm, how should I put this? Remember, I said that we have a shit hit the fan scenario, and we got major incidents developing. One of which is what we just covered. This all of these questions that are now being asked about the defense expert fundraiser, and another being that we've had a second juror allegedly step forward. So before I get into this, let me say my take on it. Okay. Now, you guys will know because I did cover this in a previous episode that was solely dedicated to the topic. I decided not to solely dedicate an entire episode to this because uh, there's not enough, and there will be more installments, so we can just handle this as they come. But here's what I'd like to say: that you may recall from my coverage of the first juror who stepped forward and uh, and spoke about her feelings. That first of all, I questioned whether she was actually a juror or not. I said, surely, like, is this for real? Because it's equally likely that she is or she was a juror, and it's a real thing, and that all of those statements are true, and you actually had a juror that stupid, as it is that perhaps it's someone who was alleging to be a juror and just trying to uh, control the PR narrative around the Delphi case by stepping forward. Okay. Now, my feelings are honestly the exact same with this juror now that has stepped forward. I find, well, it's likely that this could be a juror who, I hate to say it, but is even more stupid than the first juror. Or it could be someone who's just LARPing or trying to control the PR narrative. Uh, I don't really have a definitive conclusion about that, but I would say in the level one or step one of analysis is you take it at face value. So I'm going to take this as at face value, and I got to say, as I just hinted at, that uh, spoiler alert, my conclusion is that this juror is actually more stupid than the first juror. It's actually mind-boggling. It's shocking. It's shocking. And if you think that you were angry before about this trial? Trust me, you're going to be angry after tonight because when I show you what we're going to show you tonight, when we go through what we're going to go through tonight, you're going to be wanting to punch the walls, throw your phone or whatever, and run outside, screaming, yelling, and crying at the same time. Because just when you thought it could not get any more absolutely asinine, it does. So that's what you're in store for. So with that being said, like I say, I hope that some of you have already visited the Unsolved channel and listened to his take. But for those of you who haven't, hey, congrats. I'm going to do it with you and for you tonight. So we'll do it together. So that's what the rest of the show tonight will be getting into, or we'll be going into. So, hey, thanks, Jake Brooks, for the 10 Prof memberships. Whoa, I want to go see who got them. Jake Brooks, thank you so much. You guys don't understand that memberships are very expensive. And so for Jake Brooks, gifting 10 memberships is a huge donation to the channel. So I want to thank you, Jake Brooks. That's very wonderful. And let me read off the recipients of Jake Brooks memberships. So welcome to memberships. Oh, wonderful. Leah Lou got one. God bless you, Leah Lou. I'm so glad to have you in the channel. And I've been enjoying your comments around. So welcome. And I'm so glad. Congrats, Leah Lou. Okay. Captain Obivy. Thank you. Kelly Wark. Snake. Linzen. Hey, Linzen. Glad you got a membership. Texas Lady 1025. Nature Loving Lady. God bless you. Shadow Dancer. Amy Mickey. Hey, glad you got a membership. Min Pinjin got a membership. So congrats to all the new members. Okay, that's so awesome, Jake Brooks. Jake Brooks, a stellar viewer of the channel and also a great supporter of the channel. So thanks a lot, Jake Brooks. That's a gangster. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, y'all. No receipts, no credibility. Erin Town says she don't want to even hear it. Oh, you're okay, Erin Town. Hang around. I'll make snarky remarks. It'll be worth it. Okay. All right. All right, y'all. God bless everyone. I'm loving all the comments I'm seeing. You guys are just beautiful. Just very, very nice people here. I so love my chat. I wish I was talking to the chat now. Okay, what's up, Jennifer Hoff? Missing lives lately in school for summer to advance this nursing program. So have been studying hella and doing labs and clinicals. Appreciate you, Prof. Appreciate you, Jennifer Hoff. Email me. Yeah. Commentator Root. Okay, woo, I was in a different world. What you talking about? Okay, all right, y'all. Yeah, we got Jake Brooks gifting memberships. All right. Big welcome to the new members, says Miss K. Yes, indeed. All right. Okay, Kali Yuga. Amen. I saw but couldn't finish. My brain couldn't comprehend that someone could be that stupid. Oh, trust me. Like I said, if you thought the first juror was stupid, you ain't seen nothing yet. Okay. All right. So good. We're here. So let's do this. Unfortunately, hey, we got to do what we got to do. Okay. So it's our night for it. It's Friday night. Now there we go. So what we're going to do to avoid any copyright complications with Mr. Tim, I prefer to just go ahead and we'll go through the transcript and we will learn so much. Trust me. I listened to the show in full, and so it'll be good. I'll remember with the transcript what he was actually saying. Okay. All right. So as he says, his name, the name of his channel is The Unsolved Delphi, or The Unsolved. But I always find him by typing in, as you see, The Unsolved Delphi. If I type that in, that's how I find him, just like you find me. If you want to find me, you type in The Prof Delphi. And so if you want to find him, you type in the unsolved Delphi. Okay? Now, it says, hello, everyone. This is Unsolved. My name is Tim. And we're going to be discussing the Delphi murders. Okay? And we'll skip ahead to a bunch of this. So he says, we're going to do this in a multi-part series, okay, because there's so much information. He says, I know you're all excited to see what the juror had to say, okay? She is female, okay? She's not the same juror, okay? She's not the same juror interviewed by murder shits, okay? Okay? And anyway, we'll skip ahead some. Okay. Again, she's not comfortable coming on, blah, 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 blah. And then he makes this pity case for her, and I'll skip over that. So he basically does this whole pity parter. He does this pity party, like, oh, she's emotionally traumatized from trial and from seeing the crime scene photos and from sitting there every day. And it's a hard job being a juror, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, he starts here with, the juror said in one of the emails, I would like for you to know that all the jurors selected for this trial are normal, everyday people. We have our own lives. Okay? Going into this was like a wild dream, sequestered, leaving your life behind to determine someone else's fate. You have a couple of days to get everything in order, to pack everything you need, to tell your employer you're not going to be at work for you don't know how long. Okay? I sat in my hotel room almost every night with my notebook, writing the pros and cons. I looked at this man, Richard Allen, and tried to find everything I could to find his innocence. In the days we sat in the courtroom, listening to the witnesses, watching the videos, and watching Richard Allen. If you weren't there, you just have no idea. The guilty side of my notebook outweighed the not guilty side. There was too many things that didn't add up. You sit on those hard chairs day after day looking at crime scene photos of two little girls, autopsy photos, their clothes and bags as exhibits. You keep thinking, how could someone do that? Okay? So listen. We can't go any further without me issuing several comments. Okay? I mean, several comments already. All right? And I totally agree, Aaron Town. That's one of my comments. We'll get into that. But let me back it up. I guess I could be an asshole and do it this way. Can you see that? Like a wild dream. Sequestered, leaving your life behind to determine someone else's fate. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying here? Just like the other juror, this was an adventure for her. This was fun. This was a step outside of the ordinary. It was titillating. You see what I mean? Like, so far, both jurors have agreed that this was an adventure. This was exciting. Okay? All right. Anyway, that's my first comparison of the two, but let's move on. She says, another thing strange to me, okay? And this is what Aaron Town was hitting at. So she sat in her hotel room every night with a notebook, writing pros and cons, looking at this man, trying to find everything I could to find his innocence. No, exactly. You see, that's not how it works, y'all. Like Aaron Town said up above. Let me put it back up. Okay, let me find it. Where's Aaron Town? She understood nothing about the presumption of innocence and the the bar of beyond a reasonable doubt. She obviously knew nothing about reasonable doubt. Okay. To say that she was looking at everything trying to find his innocence. No. That's not how it works. You look at things to try to see what will convince you beyond this reasonable doubt that he is absolutely guilty. So obviously you were looking at things absolutely inside out. This is all backwards. Okay, now what else did we get? She says another one. And honestly, listen, guys, and I'm sure I'm going to get the trolls to clip this. Okay, the mean girls, they're definitely going to clip this. But it's true. And guys, I really need you to open your minds up, and think about being a human being and being able to understand both sides. Okay. I do speak with some folks who believe Richard Allen is guilty. Some of those folks I've spoken to since well before trial. Year 2, 3. So there are a couple folks that I've known for years who happen to think he's guilty. And I obviously vigorously disagree. But I'm not going to not speak with them because they're Satan, because they think so. I actually continue to speak to them to try to crack those minds open and have them understand. But it's interesting here because she says an identical phrase to one of the persons I know who went to trial. Okay. And one of the persons I know who went to trial made the same statement. And she says, if you weren't there, you just have no idea. Okay. Which is an exact verbatim phrase that one of the individuals I know who went to trial and thinks Richard Allen is guilty, that individual also said to me, if you didn't go to trial, you really don't know because you weren't there. You should have come and sat there. To which I easily countered. But I think it's an odd statement to make that if you weren't there, you have no idea. Okay, which is what they say. Right, and also, like Silence says, I know plenty of people who were there and sat their asses in that courtroom who came out saying he's absolutely innocent. So it's both sides, okay? But you don't have to be in the courtroom to understand the wrongs. I mean, we can go back through all these pretrial motions and see that crimes were committed, okay? So, and he was railroaded before trial. Listen, honestly, I've heard lawyers say this ad nauseum. Oftentimes, cases are won or lost in pretrial motions. And it's true. You can absolutely see the railroading of Richard Allen in the pretrial motions and hearings, period. So anyway, let's continue. And she goes with some more pity party shit, which is I can't function. I need silence. I need someone to talk to. I'm depressed. I can't sleep. I can't go to work. I don't think I'll ever be myself again. And forgive me if I'm getting choked. And he says, forgive me if I'm getting choked up while reading this bullshit, because in the chaos of all the true crime community, so many people forget that these are real human beings. This isn't a game. These are real lives. Anyway, so no, let me say that also. No, probably the reason that she cannot sleep or eat or live with herself and is depressed and sad is because she knows deep within her inner self knows that she absolutely did the wrong thing and there was no evidence against this man. And you're going to learn as we get into this how fickle this woman was in making decisions on this fate of Richard Allen. So let's continue. What else did he say? The juror also said, being a juror for this type of trial, you have to be strong. I really wish this man's supporters were in that courtroom, where many were. There's so much the public doesn't know. No, the public knows a lot. Thanks for being a great journalist that you are now. Okay, let's continue. She goes into all right. Now, dude, like I said, your heads might explode. Your heads might explode. Well, trust me, your head's going to explode right now. She did not want me to share this, says Tim. She sent me a photograph of her with all the other jurors, taken after trial was over. I believe it was Judge Fran Gull and the bailiffs. I said it. She sent me a photograph taken of all the jurors after trial with Fran Gull and the bailiffs. You guys remember the barbecues? What's going on in Indiana? What's going on with the celebrity of the judge and the bailiffs and the jurors and the group photographs and the parties and the good times and the barbecues and the he's cute and the she's a badass? I like the way they dress. So, as the Unsolved says, one of the ways he confirmed her was that she sent a photograph of the jury with Gull and the bailiffs all having a nice time. Right? What's up, Plain Iron and everyone coming in? Yeah, she's a carbon copy but stupider version of juror number one, of the first juror to step forward. All right. All right. So we got so he claims he vetted her with certain documents. We don't know. Okay. So this is amazing to me too, because he makes this startling assertion. He says, this juror went into this with an open, unbiased mind. What the? Especially for the people that'll be criticizing this juror. Again, there'll probably be people criticizing me too and saying, you're just doing this for money and fame. No, I don't think he is. I don't think he's doing it for money and fame. I think he's doing it because it's a story. So however he landed this story, he's doing it. Okay. But I don't think we've got to blame him for grifting. Listen, I think it's a real low blow to try to blame everyone for grifting, for participating. Look, we should be grateful, honestly. Be grateful that he's brought this forward, because we've been asking for jurors to step forward ever since trial's over, and only one had. Okay, so at a bare minimum, you've got to stop shooting the messenger and just say, listen, at least he brought this forward. Okay, Whether you like him or not, don't shoot the messenger. Okay? That's my message. All right, so let's continue. So he says, he shows the jurors notes, and this it gets startling again. Honestly, prepare to also have your head explode another time, because this is a part where it this is another time. Listen, your fucking head's gonna explode here, because this is troll farm territory, right? What he says here is she says that Richard Allen said, according to the juror, I believe this is one of his mental health counselors. Richard Allen said he, quote, I don't even know if I could say this because I don't want the video to get flagged, that he did something unspeakable to his sister once. So all the people out there who are claiming Richard Allen is some innocent, average, everyday guy who's never done anything wrong. Again, she says, Richard Allen says that he did something unspeakable to his sister once. So people out there who are claiming Richard Allen is some innocent, average, everyday guy who's never done anything wrong, apparently during this trial at some point, it was testified that Richard Allen basically fondled his sister at some point, and that he has a, quote, sex addiction. Remember Troll Farm was saying that he did that to his daughter or his sister or whatever, and that his daughter doesn't love him anymore. Remember all the bullshit PR, the spinning they were doing? Remember all the bullshit spin they were doing and trying to discredit or muddy his, incriminate him, muddy his appearance? So apparently, she believes that Richard Allen molested his sister and possibly his daughter, and his daughter doesn't love him, and he has a sex addiction, and he drinks beer, and blah, 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 blah. All that slander that was spread around in the social media prior to trial. This stupid, watch your language, Prof. Adrian, I checked myself, and it's a new day. I saved you from the swear jar. I checked myself. Boy, she almost caused it. She almost caused me to say mean words. All right. This woman literally believes that this guy molested his sister and possibly his daughter and has a sex addiction, and that, like she said, everyone claiming Richard Allen is innocent, average, everyday guy who's never done anything wrong. Apparently, at some point, it was testified. She doesn't even remember, and she was there. You know? Let's continue. All right. All right. But she aligns the sex addiction with taking God in his heart. See, she says she's thinking Richard Allen. No, she says he has a sex addiction and is taking God into his heart now. These are the juror's notes. She's thinking Richard Allen said the girls died in order for him to find God. He never said that. He never said that. It's another one. Thank you. It's a new day. When did he say he killed the girls to find God? Like, what's wrong with this woman? You see, the girls died in order for him to find God. Okay, then she goes further. She goes further. She says he admitted he was an alcoholic and exhibited a bizarre smile. She then goes further and lies again. Okay, she lies again. She says, well, I wouldn't call it a lie. She does this weird like self-justification of convicting him. Look, she says, you know, everybody says that these confessions were coerced because of the Haldol and because of the drugs he was receiving. But in fact, many of Alan's confessions were before those drugs were ever introduced to him at all. No, crazy lady. No. Everybody doesn't say that the confessions were coerced because of Haldol. Everyone says the confessions were coerced because of his placement in Westville, his death threats from other inmates, and possibly the Odinist corrections guards, consistent traumatization, death threats, intimidation, the lights left on, the starvation, the being in solitary for months and 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 months, while on Prozac, okay, and a diagnosed depressive, okay, while beating his head against the walls, sleeping on the floor, okay, drinking out of the toilet. And then on top of that, yes, at a certain point, at the height of his psychosis, he is administered Haldol, which further exacerbates the problem. So you see how this shit, it doesn't work. Okay? But these are supposed to be the people who decided Richard Allen's fate on absolutely no evidence. What's up? Thank you, Bezo Jones. Was the jury actually just a troll farm? Probably. Yeah. Again, none of this is going back on the Unsolved for presenting this information. This is her stupidity, not his. Just remember that. This is her stupidity. Okay, let me see. Now she tries to tie his alcohol consumption to the murder. She says, again, this is how they do. See, this is how this was all allowed. Okay, this is how this was all allowed. She says, he made a confession about how he killed Abby and Libby. Drank beer that day or that morning, laid in wait. Saw the girls, followed them onto the bridge, and said he was doing something with this gun, and he thinks that's when the bullet fell out. Yeah, which would have been what, on the bridge? Let me add another. Okay, no, I'm going to skip that. Okay. Monica Walla on October 30th. Exhibit 302, resume, Dr. Walla, observation of Richard Allen's suicide, confessions. I'm dead now. I can die now. I need to talk to God. Richard Allen doesn't know why he did it. He lost everything. Asked for something so he can kill himself. with. He says, he killed Abby and Libby, quote, poor little girls. Richard Allen says in one confession, quote, didn't want them to suffer. Well, if he didn't want them to suffer, why did you do this sort of thing in the first place? Is the $1,000,000 question. Yeah, which shows that when he's at the most vulnerable mental state, he's going to say, I don't want children to suffer, which then would lead you to think that he did not cause them to suffer in the first place. Okay. No, of course he believed her because he's a guilter, Kali Yuga. Thank you, Kali Yuga. Yes, I'm not saying that he doesn't believe her. He believes her all the way and supports her because he thinks Richard Allen is guilty. But I'm saying you still don't blame him for presenting her, because what, would you rather not have this? Like, that's where we have to learn to be human beings. Listen, would you rather not have all this to show how terrible this was, or would you rather have it? So therefore, you should be glad that he's there to provide this. That's why you don't shoot the messenger. Okay? Sorry, and that's just the way I feel. And if you don't agree with it, then go somewhere else. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to bring it back. Zoom it. All right. Oh my God, dude. The court observer, Jay, you're awesome. The court observers made it seem like they had jurors with a clue. Where were these dingbats sitting? You did a shibby. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. Okay. Where were these dingbats sitting? For real. Come on. All right, so let's continue. All right, so listen, we're going to go to Q&A now with this juror. So let me pull up a question. All right. All right. Let me get to it. It says, he says he's gotten about 40 emails from this juror. Okay, by the way. All right, so let's see. Looking for question number 1 here. Let's see. Did any of the jurors, all right, did any of the jurors wish or discuss whether they thought it would have been useful had Richard Allen taken the stand himself in his own defense? Okay, did anyone Did anyone of the jurors wish or discuss whether or not they thought it would have been useful if Richard Allen had taken the stand? Okay. All right. Here's the answer. I cannot speak for other jurors. While the Fifth Amendment protects us against self-incrimination, and here's where it gets crazy. I believe if someone is truly innocent, then why not take the stand? Again, this juror is insane. She says, I believe in the Fifth Amendment, but if he's innocent, why not take the stand? Ooh, that's rough, bro. That's rough. I found out later Richard Allen's well-being hindered his ability to assist in his own defense. I also learned from sources. Who are the sources? Who are the sources? That's weird. And listen to what she claims these anonymous sources say, that these actions were attempts to manipulate his situation. And she doesn't state what sources those are, but I'm just giving you what her answers are. So hold on. So she says that she's learned from her sources that Richard Allen acting crazy was an attempt to manipulate his situation. Sounds like this may be juror misconduct. Was she talking with people? Who are these sources? Also, question number 2. Okay, let me blow it up again. Question number 2. What were the jurors' impressions of Richard Allen throughout the trial? I cannot speak for other jurors. My impression of Richard Allen throughout the trial is he fidgeted a lot, rolled his eyes often, and laughed at times. Okay. Excuse me, young lady. Excuse me. Those are all side effects of the medication he had been on and his isolation for a year and a half. You clearly don't understand his medical problems. All right. Rolled his eyes often, laughed at times. Then she goes even further. I noticed his attorney, Andrew Baldwin, coddled him. Okay. Placed his arm around Richard Allen often. Excuse me. He's on medication, so his eyes are rolling. He's a little fidgety and weird. His attorney is just being a nice guy. Like, it's okay, Rick. You know, Rick's been in hell on earth for over a year and a half or more, like in solitary. This is one of the few experiences he gets with other people. So Andy Baldwin's being like a good other human to him. And you're terming that as coddling? What's up, Charlie Grill? Hey, long time no see. That's my buddy, Charlie. Charlie, look, I love you, man. Love you, bro. Love you. Long time no see. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Aaron. They did this to him on purpose, including the torture and abuse. It's just, this is what we're dealing with. All right? It's insanity. Like I said, I told you, if you thought this woman could not be any more stupid than the first one, she's angry the lawyer coddled him because she assumed from day one, no, before day one, that he was the killer. Right. Remember, she's looking for reasons to find him innocent. You know, she's looking for reasons to find him innocent, not guilty. What in the world, bro? This is the world we're living in. Oh my, dude. This is why, man, I tell you. Okay, never mind. Let me keep going. She thought his body language. This is the creator here. The creator says this juror thought his body language and his behavior and her own personal feelings and related in email exchanges with him. So he claims he has 40 emails, and all of this you're hearing here, by the way, all of this is a result of emails. She's not on the show. Okay. She's not on the show telling this story. This is all like somehow through Q&As, through emails and 40 emails, whatever. All right. So where are we? Let's see. I got to get back to this. Question number 3. That's what we're important here. Question number 3. Were there any defense or prosecution witnesses that you found particularly compelling that had you leaning toward guilt or innocence? Okay. Ready for the head to explode? Cecil, number 1. He was to the point. He looked at the jury. He spoke, and you could tell he was serious about his work. Cecil is absolutely one of the worst. Remember, he's the one that said that shape on the tree was spatter, blood spatter. Okay. Also, Oberg, the junk science ballistics. Okay, the junk science ballistics. Oberg, forensic firearms examiner. She was on the stand the entire day, and we watched videos of how to look for specific markings that a particular firearm could cause, as the inside toolings are not the same as what I find, are not the same as the other ones. She says, what I find interesting about this in my exchange. Oh, he says, what I find interesting in my exchange is she was telling me a lot of the experts at the defense team had come forward regarding the firearms and other evidence. I guess the defense didn't have somebody physically look at this evidence. They looked at photographs. Now, that's one of my major. I'm sorry. I fucked up. Thank you, Silence. See, that's why you're here. That's why you're here. Cicero. That's right. See, the 2 C's got me. That's right. Cicero and Cecil. So I got it wrong. Apologize, viewers. Of course, you're going to clip that and you're going to go post it somewhere to be mean and make me look stupid. It's okay. But let's move on because it's worse. Like I said, she said not only was it Cecil, but Oberg with the shady fucking junk science where they couldn't even eliminate Brad Weber's gun or any other fucking firearm. Okay? But like I said, what really infuriates me is defense. Because I will tell you every time, and hey, whoever's in here that loves the defense, I'm sorry. I like them, but I don't love them. Because there's so many things. There's so many things that this defense did not do properly. Okay, and they'll call us Sunday morning quarterbacks, whatever they fucking want to call us, Monday morning quarterbacks, whatever they want to call us. Yeah, you can call us. Okay, we're criticizing after the point. But for me, there's so many things that the defense failed to do. They dropped the ball. They just didn't do. I mean, dude, don't even get me started. That could be a whole couple shows of all the things the defense did not do. Okay? Moving on. All right. So we're saying it gets worse, though. Let me pull it down. Trust me, it gets worse because you're not going to believe what you're about to hear. Trust. Get ready. The heads are going to explode again. Okay? The heads are going to explode again. So, okay, here we go. This is going to explode the heads, okay? Not this one yet. No, we're getting to it. Okay, this is kind of middle ground. But let's get past this to get to the really alarming shit. Okay. Did hearing Richard Allen's voice help your decision? Did Richard Allen hearing his voice at trial help you? Answer: when I first watched the first interview and heard Richard Allen speak, the hair stood up on my arms. She believed when she heard Richard Allen's voice in those interviews compared to Guys Down the Hill, she absolutely believed that it was the same voice. As soon as she heard it, there was no doubt in her mind. The hair stood up on her arm. Now, y'all, the important point about that, remember, who was it that said that voice belongs to Richard Allen? Who said that should have not been allowed to say that? Brian Harshman. Remember, Brian Harshman said, oh, yeah, that's his voice. And I'm wearing a suit. I'm from the state police. I'm a very serious man. And I listen to thousands and millions and hundreds of hours. And I promise you, that's his voice. And she said, oh, yeah. Oh, the hairs are standing up on my arms. Telling you. You can't make this shit up with these people. And it gets worse. This continuously gets worse till the end. Okay, he says, she says, Richard Allen was caught lying. Okay, caught lying. He said he didn't go out on the bridge. Officer, you said you weren't out on the bridge. And again, these are from her notes. Richard Allen, no, I didn't, officer. You said you walked out on the first platform. You said you were on the bridge. Richard Allen, of course I was. I told you that. I told you I was on the bridge. And there are several times during this case when Allen clearly gives contradictory information about this while being interviewed, and she's right there. There was one time when he says during his interrogation that he didn't go out on the bridge and he didn't tell his wife, Kathy, that he went out on the bridge. And then she later finds out after he's interviewed, oh, yeah, he admits that he did go out on the first platform. And that shows deception, even if it's small deception or a small detail. Well, if he originally says, I didn't go out on the bridge, and when he's being interrogated, and then he says, yeah, well, I went out on the first platform later, that's contradictory information. That was a factor to this juror. Yeah. It's true, man. It's true. Like I said, I know it makes you want to cry. I mean, it makes you want to fucking cry. How bad this shit is. It's truly an injustice. Okay. All right, so let's continue. Then she goes into drum roll, the clothes that he was dressed like bridge guy. Yes, yes. She goes into the clothes. She goes into the clothes. She goes into the clothes, y'all. He said he was wearing a black Carhartt, like off-brand, and maybe some other clothes, and maybe he was wearing a blue jacket and a da 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 da. He looks like bridge guy. Okay. Then she says, "Oh, and by the way, where's his cell phone? He's got all these other cell phones. Da 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 da. Where's his cell phone? Where's his cell phone? Yeah, lady. How about this? Why don't you ask the state of Indiana, the prosecutor's office, why they didn't do an analysis of his Google user data or the whatever other fucking thing that's called, where they take all of the advertising data that pushes to the phone through Google and all these other apps. What is that called? Not the geofence, the other thing they do with the phones where they get all the advertisers' data. I made a whole show about it. I can't remember it. Why didn't they do the work they needed to do? Because they had his phone information. Okay? Remember this. Remember this. They had Rick Allen's phone information, right? They could have easily submitted that to the cell provider and gotten all of his proprietary shit, Well, why didn't the state do that? Was that information potentially exculpatory? Did it show that he was maybe there earlier? And so they just didn't provide it in discovery? Or did they potentially show that the phone was not there at all? Maybe he left it at home, but even though he said he was on it, or did it show it he was indeed on it and he was indeed there, but it was hours earlier? You got to ask yourself these questions because surely they could have. Look, we got the NSA, we got the FBI, we have the whatever that fog reveal is what it's called. We got fog reveal where they could have easily done a fog reveal for all of that advertiser data and the GPS location, all the shit associated with that phone, even though they don't have the physical phone. Are you guys kidding me that the prosecutor wouldn't have gone through those steps to try to put him there? And if that it indeed put him there at that place and time, that they would have used it? I'm not buying that the state doesn't have that information. I think they had that information and it was not useful in prosecuting, so they disappeared it. And that's my conspiracy theory for all you mean girls. All right. But she says he had a bag full of old cell phones and shit. And then where's his phone from that day? Oh, he must have killed 2 little girls. You see? Let's see. Now, this right here, this is. Okay, let's read it. Were there any evidence or witnesses that made you think Alan could be innocent? Important question, right? All right. Again, what am I saying? I'm saying any evidence or witnesses that would make you think he could be innocent. Hey, Mandy, thank you so much. That's adorable. Thank you for sending that. You don't have to, but oh, that's so sweet, and we thank you so much, Mandy. All right, listen. Hey, Paula, welcome everyone who's come in. I see so many people have come in. Commentator Root, people came in who I haven't even said hello to yet. Welcome everyone. Listen, this is important here, okay? But even more important, like I say, it keeps getting worse and worse in this case. Okay, the defense focused on Richard Allen's mental state, how he was treated in prison. Dr. Dwanger, psychologist, oversees mental health of the prisons. She never met Richard Allen, but she discussed Richard Allen's mental illness, even though she never met him. What? Yeah, but this is what she does. She reviewed all of everything and came and confirmed that he was indeed in a deep state of psychosis, which all of you seem to selectively forget. All right. Continuing. Could Richard Allen be feigning his symptoms? Now, this is called leading the witness. Okay, could Richard Allen be feigning his symptoms to not be put in general population as he was being threatened by other inmates? Dwenger answered, yes, it's possible. And then she says, like, what I think is some bullshit. Richard Allen was examined for delirium. He did not have it. Bullshit. No, he was examined and she determined he was in full-blown psychosis. You know? This may have been a ruse in order to be, or to be avoiding being put in general population. And then she says, a lot of people say, well, there was a lot of things the judge didn't allow in, like Odinism or Elvis Field or anything else. But again, I find it interesting the defense even came out with Odinism at all, though. It wasn't allowed because there was never any real credible evidence. Bullshit! Elvis Field's sisters, Amber Holder, Todd Click, Greg Ferenczi, Kevin Murphy. See, this is where he now goes into shilling. Okay, he now goes into drinking the Kool-Aid and shilling. Okay, and this is the guy. This is not the juror. This is not the juror. This is this host. Okay, like I said, he is a Kool-Aid drinking, bootlicking prosecution shill. Don't get it twisted. He says, I think that's why Frank Gold didn't allow it, because she said, hey, defense team, you have to give us some sort of credible information that other people were out there. And in pretrial, the defense failed to meet the burden of evidence to include that information. Wrong. She was a biased judge. You have to meet the burden of evidence to include that information in trial, because otherwise you just start letting them include anything they want in a trial, and it becomes a three-ring circus, just made up bullshit potentially, and the defense team could just start wasting people's time and throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks, to muddy the waters. And that's why pretrial hearings exist, and that's why evidentiary hearings exist in the first place, to make sure that only pertinent information, discovery, and evidence is allowed into trial. And, you know, there's going to be some people who say, well, there's some stuff that should have been allowed in. Yes, because she was biased. Yeah, because she was biased. Judge Gold. See, that's why you're not supposed to have a judge that exhibits bias. Because yes, the evidentiary hearings, the pretrial hearings are to determine this stuff. And your judge is supposed to be unbiased in it. But when you have a biased judge, see, that's what you're leaving out, sir. When you have a biased judge that does not fairly decide on these issues and these matters, then things are left out that should be included because they are pertinent and are factual and are relevant. And remember, everything these attorneys tried to have in were actually law enforcement product. But she was biased. She was a biased, unhinged, terrible, corrupt judge. I'm getting mad. See, this is when I start losing it. And we haven't even gotten to the thing that really makes me the most angry yet. Okay. But see, he's absolutely fucking ridiculous, because he can't understand that typically it's supposed to go the right way. That's why it's formulated in that way. But when you have biased judges in it, corrupt judges, they hold sway over the entire outcome. Like I said, any good attorney will tell you cases are won and lost in pretrial motions and hearings. All right, let me continue. Ooh, serenity now. Serenity now. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. All right, let's continue. We're almost there. We're almost done, y'all. We're going to end early tonight. All right. But then he goes and he bootlicks a little more and he says, you know, that's why Richard Allen has appeals. That's why he has attorneys working for him. That's not my job to determine. Again, just sharing information with everybody. Yeah. And trust me, if the appeals process is not corrupt, which is highly unlikely because we're dealing with Indiana, if it has any integrity whatsoever, Judge Gold will be addressed by the appeals court, but who the fuck knows? Because this whole thing is looking like an entire scam to bury what actually happened to Abby and Libby, because it probably opens up the door into something so fucking huge, even the feds probably want to hide it. All right. Let's continue. Where are we? Let's move on To question number 7 now. Okay. Now that you've researched the case way more after trial, do you think any claims of Allen's supporters have any merit to them, or are most things nonsense in your opinion? Well, that's a leading question. You shouldn't have offered up that word, nonsense. Come on, man. This is a leading question. Leading question. She says Richard Allen supporters. Richard Allen describes himself as bridge guy from what he was wearing, basically. Witnesses saw bridge guy but not Richard Allen, because Richard Allen has his identity hidden behind his overdressed coat and tucking himself, which she means tucking in or hiding behind all the layers of clothing. Not one witness saw two persons dressed exactly the same, which is the elephant in the room that you're ignoring, juror. All witnesses described different people. And not only that, no one described Richard Allen. And not only that, no one identified Richard Allen. And not only that, no one could even identify that Richard Allen was the person they were attempting to portray in the sketches that were produced. Sorry, I got a little pissed. Okay, I don't have any chocolate, y'all. I'm out, so I can't chill. Oh my God. All right, I'm getting there. Okay. Supporters focus on the fact that there was no DNA, therefore Richard Allen is innocent. Yes. And her response to that? All I have to say is they should have been in the courtroom, because everything they heard and seen is not the whole picture. There's more they haven't heard and haven't seen. Moving on. I'm not even. Okay. Question number 8. Do you have any message for the victims' lying ass families? For the families of the girls? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I stutter? I'm so sorry. Bless you. And I have I wish I could have, she say, I'm so sorry. Bless you, Becky Patty. And I very much wish I could have walked over and given you all a hug. All right. That's the juror's message to the victims' families, the Patties. Okay. She wished she could have walked over and given them a hug and apologized. And it's just heartbreaking what happened. And listen, it gets worse. Ready for some heads to explode? Y'all get ready now. This is for all you Kathy Allen supporters. Listen to this one. Listen to this one. Do you have any message to Richard Allen's wife or family about his conviction? I am sorry for Richard Allen's daughter. I can't imagine the adverse effects. Richard Allen's wife, you tried to keep him quiet on the phone. You knew that those were powerful words. Okay? Those are powerful words. And I think the juror makes a valid point. Again, for Richard Allen's daughter, can't imagine the adverse effects this would have on you. To Richard Allen's wife, you tried to keep him quiet on the phone. You knew just how powerful stuff from this, you knew just how powerful those words were. So she's going into blaming Kathy Allen. Okay. Now, question number 10. A bonus. He says, if Okay, this is the one that makes me mad. It's hard to know where to start this. Let's see. Here's the one I'm trying to get to. This is the grand finale of bullshit. Okay. Sarah Carbaugh alleged seeing Richard Allen allegedly muddy and bloody on 300 North. And she just flat out says she believed Sarah Carbaugh, and she showed me her notes. And what she's referring to is she believed Sarah Carbaugh. She believed Sarah Carbaugh's testimony, and she believed it was very powerful and believable and very passionate, very passionate. She believed Sarah Carbaugh, and she believed her testimony, and that she was very passionate about what she saw. She says, despite the fact that there are a lot of people who have criticized the fact that Carbaugh waited some period of time for like a week or two to come forward and tell people what she saw, I'm not saying I believe this or that about her testimony. I'm merely sharing, he says, what the juror thinks. Based on the testimony she saw, that she witnessed from Sarah Carbaugh during trial. And anyway, so that's it. So as you can see, this is the end of it. And he goes on and he closes out with some blah, blah, blah. But basically, that's it regarding that. Hey guys, guess what? My little hero delivered to me a special surprise I didn't know I had. Mm. My little hero was listening, and he went and he found my little piece. Aha, that's funny. That was skunk jerky. See, if we were in Kentucky, that would be a thing. All right. All right. So, mm, that was delicious. Okay. Second win. Look, here's a point. This idiot believed Sarah Carbaugh and actually admired her and thought that it was compelling and that she was passionate. When 90% of the people coming out of that courtroom said that she was fucking unhinged, she lost control, and she had a bad attitude and was not believable. Even the first juror to come out said that no, I didn't pay attention because the defense did a good job of making her sound stupid or look stupid or seem stupid or whatever. So, like I said, you think it couldn't get any stupider than the first juror? Well, here you go. And we're not done with it, like I said, because remember, this person, the Unsolved, says that there's several episodes to come. There's several more. So that's it. That's it as far as that goes. So I would like to thank Mr. Tim at The Unsolved. Again, you can type in The Unsolved Delphi. Okay. And You can go to his channel and see that for yourself, and anything else be unsolved. And now we're going to get back into Daddy's going to lecture. Okay. Daddy's going to do a little lecture real quick. Just a sec. Now, look, I'll fully admit to you that I don't agree with Tim at all. I don't like what he's doing with this channel much at all. But there's more than that because, like I said, we have to start allowing people to be themselves, to coexist, to be people. We got to stop shooting the messenger and being so fucking insane with the way that we handle people we disagree with. And I think you've seen a lot of examples of that in my time here on YouTube. Look, you've seen that for the entire time I've been on YouTube, I had a contingent of people going after me relentlessly, who I call the troll farm. They're the bunch of local meth heads who love burying the case for Becky Patty. Okay? You've seen them threaten to kill, send shit to my house, send shit to other people's houses, stalk, harass, dox, go insane, do endless live streams, make terrible videos, spend money, try everything they can because they disagree with me. And in the past 2 months, you've seen who I have termed the mean girls, or Troll Farm 2.0, who you may know as the cranks, relentlessly do the same thing: threatened, harass, dox, cyberstalk, bully, dox, shame, make videos on, do lives. You see? Because they disagree with questions I'm asking. But I want to show you this because I think that I need to make this statement after what I've seen yesterday and today. Because you see what happened when the Unsolved published this video, which was, let me go ahead and see if I can do this. A couple days ago, so it's been a couple days, on the 28th, he published it. So a couple days ago on the 28th, he published this, and immediately these mean girls, the cranks, Troll Farm 2.0, because they don't know how to regulate their emotions, because they don't know how to gracefully disagree, because they don't know how to behave without doxing, harassing, threatening, brigading, swarming, terrifying. They all went over to his Twitter where I said they've terraformed for years to establish a footing. They all went over to his Twitter as a group, gang stalked him, doxed him, harassed him until they were all blocked. And this is someone trying to be cute here, saying, cranks went so hard, I got blocked. I haven't even been on the twits hardly today. Certainly, this was the first time I clicked this page. I didn't even know his name. And I redacted his name out of respect to not dox. But as you can see, they went and they trolled him so hard because they didn't like what the juror said. It's not the way you should handle yourselves because you've done the same things to me. Yeah, I had to block you all too because you're fucking obsessed. You're completely emotionally dysregulated. And you don't know how to communicate your points like human beings. You're true bullies. And so that's Daddy's advice for tonight is don't do that. You could have done a whole lot more calmly talking with him. But can't teach an old dog new tricks. So that's the end of my show for tonight, y'all. It's the Prof's Friday Night Fights round 6. And that was all that I wanted to say about the questions about the defense expert fundraiser and the juror or second juror interview. And so not a night of good news, unfortunately. It's all really yucky. And hey, like I said, that's the norm for Delphi. Okay, the norm for Delphi is yuck, chaos, anger, rage. Remember what I said? The tentacles, how complicated and yucky. Anyway, though, I wanted to give a special extra shout out to our sponsors tonight, especially first and foremost, Mr. Mark Ellis for the sponsorship super chat. Thank you, Mark Ellis. Also, thank you to Dom S, Kate Eleanor, Tara B, It's a New Day. Tara B gave like 2 or 3. Geez, Tara. Dieter gifted a membership and gave a super chat. But for some reason, how did I miss all these? Look. Hey, Dieter. I hope you're still around. I missed this one. If I'm being told not to ask a question, I'm about to ask all the damn questions, but I've been called difficult and other things. Well, Adrian and Prof keep asking. The buck stops somewhere. Always. And thank you, Dieter. I'm sorry I missed some of these. Okay. We also had Jake Brooks gifted the Tim Prof memberships. Okay. So thank you so much, Jake Brooks, for those memberships. I'm so happy that 10 viewers will get membership for a while and get to enjoy having a star and whatever else we do. Also, Mandy Gillian, thank you so much. That's extra sweet and cute. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Remember, please post Heather Brown's fundraiser real quick, one of you. Listen, our beautiful friend Heather Brown is going through it right now, and she could use all the support she can get to make life easier while she goes through this difficult period so she doesn't have to worry about money. So please not only go donate to her fundraiser, but please do me a favor and go and share So donate to her fundraiser and then share her fundraiser, please. Okay, I would so appreciate that. And I know she would too, because you never know if you share her fundraiser uh, with your network, someone you would never know may end up just sending her a gift to make life easier for her because maybe they knew someone with cancer or the unmentionable. So please, 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 we really appreciate it. You don't convince people of your viewpoint by screaming and making fun and bullying and cancel them. Yes, indeed. Okay. You don't. You have to reasonably discuss, and it may take some time. That's the thing. No one is immediately gonna agree to shift their whole worldview for you. But maybe over the course of a month or 6 months or a year, you never know. People can change. I've seen people here in this comment section dramatically change since I've been on YouTube, which is only 2 years. Anyway, so God bless you all. That is Heather's fundraiser, which is GoFundMe, support Heather Brown's battle with cancer. Okay, there you go. Click the link. You can donate to Heather Brown and to support her while she goes through this difficult time. And also pray for her, please. And do me a favor, pray for Cosmo. She's another friend of ours of the channel who is going through some difficulties right now. So please pray immensely for Cosmo. And that's what it is. Okay, we missed Heather, yes, and Cosmo. And not only that, look, I want to say everything we've done has always been for Abby and Libby, because remember, they're not here to speak for themselves. Okay, so we're here to assist them, and so that maybe by us speaking up, they do receive some sort of justice. And we know that this trial for Richard Allen was no justice, because what kind of justice involves all of the bad feelings at the end of the process has happened? Because a very small percentage believes that justice was served, and it's only caused controversy, consternation, a bunch of bad feelings and chaos. And that's not justice for Abby and Libby, because the true justice for Abby and Libby would be true closure for the Delphi community and all of the people. Okay, so yeah, I'll pray for Dom S too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Zaddy. Pray for Cosmo, Heather, and also Dom S is having some medical problems. Pray for Dom S too, okay? And F the mean girls, says Dom. So yeah, please hit the like too. Okay, hit the like on the way out of here. We're getting out of here. Go on to Dirty Diana's if you want to go have fun with Diana. Diana's going to do some stuff. Enjoy it. If you're on the replay, do me the greatest service in the world. Hit the Cash App, buy me coffee, and leave comments down below, because the comments down below are the most awesome thing in the days after these streams. And I get comments 6 months, a year later sometimes. So please continue to, if you've watched this on the replay and we're no longer live, please drop a comment below and let us know what you thought. So God bless you all. It's a new day. Aaron Town, Elby, Barbara Borman, Zaddy, Mandy, Shibby, Dom, Elby, Silenced, American Night Mom, Trial Junkie, Dirty Diana, Aaron Town was here, Silent G, Post Apocalyptic, Marie Kelly, who else was here? Four Pits, thank you, Four Pits, Aaron Town, as I said, Aaron, Commentator Root, Plain Iron, Lisa, everybody was here earlier. Jennifer and Dieter, and of course, Mark Ellis, Kate Eleanor, everyone who's here super early. Thank you for being here super early. I'm getting out of here. Oh, Charles, Necessary Evil. Okay, Christine was here. We had a whole lot of people here. 5 Green Acres. Jay was here. So everybody. Adrian was here. Lilu was here. Everybody was here. Appreciate it. This was a nice stream, and I'm getting out of here, okay? So we'll see you later. Peace out. God bless Libby and Abby. God bless Heather, Dino, Cromley, Cosmo. Everybody needs a blessing. Bless you all. And also my buddy, Charlie. Okay? Anyway, I'm out of here. Peace out. God bless Libby and Abby. Hide your kids, hide your wife.